Clovercrest Media Group presents a CMG podcast. Keys to the City.
Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know.
Crossed up by Kobe, little flow to Shaq, and then Shaq goes like this, and the rest is history. Pay attention. Don't tell me what to do, devil woman.
Speaking of those Lakers,
But I hold on. But I didn't make my. I didn't make. I said Denver's gonna win.
yeah, you did. You said that.
There's no other show like that. Clovercrest is doing great things right now.
Streaming everywhere.
Let's say goodbye to all your worries about tax planning, investment troubles, and any confusion when it comes to managing your finances and money. Here at Rocky Hill Accountants, our team has a combined 35 years of experience and will help you do it right. We're dedicated to your needs and will deliver on a result that is professional and trustworthy. Our firm is large enough to offer a full range of professional services, but small enough to give you the individual attention that you deserve. Our business portfolio includes thousands of prepared tax returns for individuals, families, partnerships, businesses, and more. The team at Rocky Hill Accountants are also thoroughly trained in tax laws and procedures. We have the ability to represent taxpayers before the IRS when they arrive at collections, audits, and appeals. This allows us to offer our accuracy and audit guarantee to tax clients. Please visit our website at rockyhillaccountants.com or give us a call at 860-257-4238 to schedule an appointment.
Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I am Steve Risser along here with Justin D'Onofrio. And yes, Yankee fans, we will get to them. We will get to the baseball. But this is a week where we have to start with this game. There's no doubt we're starting here. It is the game everybody has been waiting for. Tom Brady is heading back to Foxborough. His Tampa Bay Buccaneers are facing the New England Patriots on Sunday Night Football. And it's so anticipated. This game has been anticipated ever since the schedule came out. Really, ever since Brady left the Patriots in time with the Bucs. There's the anticipation. Everybody has been waiting for this game because we knew in 2021 the Patriots were going to play the Buccaneers. It should be a great atmosphere at Gillette Stadium. There will not be an empty seat in that place, and there shouldn't be a boo in that place when Tom Brady comes out because obviously what Tom Brady did for the Patriots, there is no athlete in sports that did more for one team than Tom Brady did for the New England Patriots. I mean, let's just say that he was the quarterback, six-time Super Bowl championship champion, got them to 9 Super Bowls. In one of the Super Bowls that they lost, he threw for 500 yards. And I mean, just the greatest quarterback of all time, heading back to New England. I can't wait for this game. But I got to because Justin's a Patriot fan, I got to give him the floor. What are your feelings with Tom Brady coming back to New England?
Well, I hope he doesn't tear our defense up too much because, right now, the way he's playing. And look, he's 68 yards away, too, from breaking Drew Brees' all-time passing record. And he's probably he could do that, on the first drive of the game. But, yeah, it's great to, have Tom back. It's, I know for, Patriot fans didn't, never want him to leave. I know, it was kind of Bill, and I think Bill may have been on to something this week of saying, he never wanted to leave. And I think Bill probably offered Brady a contract, probably for a team-friendly, probably something around like $15, $16 million a year, something around there. And, obviously Brady wanted something more. I don't blame him. It should be a great atmosphere. Again, there definitely should be no boo for Tom Brady in that stadium for what he's done. You mentioned it. The 6 Super Bowls, and it was a franchise that really had nothing before that. And now it's like you think about NFL kind of teams, the first team you think about are the Patriots for what they've done the last, 2 decades. Tom Brady, obviously a huge part of that. He did everything the right, he was great for the city, great for this franchise. And, it's crazy to kind of see him on the other sidelines on Sunday night, but he will, and hopefully we can slow him down enough.
How weird is that going to be as a Patriot fan? Seeing him run out of the visiting team's tunnel, seeing him on that other sideline after he's been with this franchise. He was with the Patriots for 20 years. How weird is that going to be?
Very weird. It still takes time to really get used to, especially last year with Cam coming out, and now with even Mac Jones. It's just like it's something that again, you knew one day Brady was going to be gone and not going to be running that tunnel anymore, but you thought that he'd be retired and not coming out of anybody else's tunnel. But it is weird. It's still it's going to be weird to kind of see him. I know he was talking, it's going to be weird for him. He's never been in that locker room. He's never been on the other sideline. Like it's going to be very weird to see him at Gillette Stadium wearing another team's helmet and uniform.
Without question. I mean, for all he's done, for all he did with the Patriots, it's just going to be so weird for me to see him go up against the Patriots. And you brought it up previously too. Belichick said he wanted to sign him, but I think he just wanted to sign him to a team-friendly deal. Yeah. And honestly, if you're Tom Brady, I think Brady did the right thing. The Patriots did not draft well enough at the skill positions for him to stay there. And last year, even if he stays with the Patriots, they probably don't get to the Super Bowl. So I think he did the right thing leaving. He late in his career, he wanted to go to a place where he was going to compete for a championship, and he did it, and he won one with Tampa Bay. And just with the way the Patriots drafted the skill positions, I think a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, Brady left," but I think the Patriots forced him to leave. I think the Patriots forced him to leave because of the way they drafted and because of their culture of Bill's like Bill. Like with Bill Belichick, he's like, you do what I say. Well, when you're not drafting players that are good enough, I'm not gonna continue to be a part of this team. And he did. He proved last year that it wasn't all Belichick and the Patriot organization. It was him, and he proved last year how great he was winning a Super Bowl somewhere else. And Hector's got a comment. Brady will set history. Yes, if he wins, he definitely will set history beating all 32 NFL teams. That's why I definitely want him to win Sunday night, because I definitely want to see that. And also, I still want to see him beat Bill Belichick, because I don't think Belichick really appreciated how good he was at the end. I mean, he was still a top 4, top 5 quarterback, but they just didn't put anything around him, especially the skill positions in that last year. So I definitely want to see, I know you're a Patriot. You won't want to see Brady win, but I definitely want to see Brady win, because I think he stuck it to Bill last year winning a Super Bowl, and I think I really want to see him stick it to Bill again.
Yeah, and I think he will. I know we'll talk about the game, and I'll kind of say why I think that's going to happen. But yeah, and for both of them too, because they're both two guys that want control, and it was over time
they both love control. They both love control.
Yeah, they do. And Brady wanted to kind of be more of a GM, and Bill wasn't going to let that happen. Bill, is kind of pretty much a Patriot GM, and again, I hope one day he gives that up soon.
Seeing the way they're playing right now, yeah.
Yes, I'll talk about that. Yeah, the actual team soon, but it's something. Yeah, it just. I don't even think Brady told Bill in person. I think they did it. He told him kind of over the phone that I'm leaving. I just think it's kind of a relationship too that they both just kind of got tired of each other. That where again they just didn't. They kind of knew what they expected from each other. They kind of got through it. But yeah, Brady just kind of wanted to get out of there. Now he's kind of the GM in kind of Tampa Bay. He just because I think they got Sherman, because Brady wanted to team up with Sherman a couple years ago when he was a free agent the last time around. So, I think Brady's kind of got, he wanted kind of the hand in the organization. Bill didn't want that. Again, I still don't mind Bill's culture. I kind of still think, I know of kind of treating everybody kind of,
yeah, but you can't treat Tom Brady. You can't treat Tom Brady like any other player. He had earned the respect there. He had been the biggest reason you had success. If you look at Bill Belichick's record without Tom Brady, it's terrible. It's not good. He's like he's like almost 20 games under 500. He's only won one playoff game. He's only been to the playoffs one time. Seven of his 8 years without Tom Brady. I'm not saying Bill Belichick's not in the conversation to be the greatest coach ever, but I think Brady definitely meant more to this dynasty. And if you look at Belichick's record without Tom Brady, he's had I think 6 losing seasons. He's missed the playoffs 7 times, and he's just not been as good. And you look at Brady, the 1 year he left Belichick, he won a Super Bowl. So it's pretty obvious who meant more to the Patriots' success. Yeah, yes, I don't mind the Patriots. I like the Patriots culture too. I think Bill's one of the greatest coaches ever. But he needed Tom Brady to be as great as he was.
Yeah, no, he did, and the culture and all that. With Bill, so far Brady kind of stuck it to him last year, winning the Super Bowl, and this was a huge year for Bill, and so far it ain't panning out very well with going out free agency and kind of buying a bunch of offensive weapons. Really hasn't worked so far, but you're kind of starting to see that Brady did kind of mean more. Again, I think Bill made Brady a better quarterback by the way he pushed him, in the early days and all of that of kind of, again, it was Randy Moss in that, had a quote in the book, kind of about the Patriots down this last year. He was like, the first day he sat down and Bill immediately started, snapping at Tom Brady about a couple of mistakes that he had. And Moss was kind of like stunned, like, nobody's safe in this organization. Like, I think Bill had a huge, role in kind of helping Brady develop to kind of get him to that next step and kind of making him the way he is. But maybe, again, maybe you should have gave Brady a little
Hector
bit
put
more
a comment.
respect.
Bill is 53 and 59 without Brady. I think it's worse than that. I think it's worse than 59 and 53. That might just be with the Patriots. I don't know. I think he's worse than that without Belichick. If you look at his years in Cleveland, I think he's worse than that. But Hector says under 500. Yeah, I mean, and I'm not taking anything away from Bill. It's just people that think that Brady was so great because he had Bill Belichick as his coach. Let's not forget. Bill Belichick is not an offensive coach. He's a defensive coach. He's not like making the quarterback great. Brady, and people forget Brady was really good in college. He came back against the Penn State team with the number 1 and number 2 picks in that draft his last year in college. So Brady was really good in college too. So to say that Brady would be nothing without Bill Belichick, I think is absolutely ridiculous. I think that yes, Bill's one of the greatest coaches ever, but let's be honest, the guy that's coming back to Foxborough on Sunday was the number 1 reason that dynasty happened.
No, absolutely, yeah. Brady wasn't nothing without Bill. I think the way Bill was kind of pushed him, but Brady again, and Brady always kind of had that chip on the shoulder, being like the sixth round pick, pick 199. He always had that, he always kind of had that on his shoulders, and and it worked well for a while in that organization because Bill's a guy that kind of kept that chip going on Brady's shoulders of you got keep winning, and again we saw kind of what happened in all those years, getting the Super Bowl, kind of dominating the AFC, they're dominating the AFC, dominating the AFC East for 20 years. So look, Brady, that without Brady, who knows what that dynasty, there's probably not a dynasty without Tom Brady. Who knows how long who knows how longer they would have kept Drew Bledsoe. I don't think they would have made, they got to 1 with Bledsoe. I don't know if they may have won 1 or 2 with Bledsoe. Who knows, after that. But look, Brady had such a huge part in this, of building this thing, and putting this organization where they are right now.
Absolutely. Now we got to get into the game. We'll get into the game. And for this game, I feel like Tampa Bay is going to control it. I don't think they're going to get a decent amount of yards on the ground. Oh, here we go. We can thank Mo Lewis for knocking out Bledsoe and making Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could say that to a point, but I do think eventually, say Bledsoe was terrible they went 5-11 the year before. Say Bledsoe was terrible that year. I think because Brady was the backup, I think eventually they might have went to Brady anyways. Everybody says that, we could thank Mo Lewis for it. Yeah, that's true because Brady became the starter. But I do think that Bledsoe could have struggled because they won only 5 games the year before. He could have struggled to a point that year, and he was getting older too, where Brady might have ended up being the starter anyways. And so, but it's a good point by Hector. But I just feel like Brady might have been the starter anyways. Could have took over later in that season if the Patriots were struggling.
Yeah, absolutely. I get. Yeah, he could have. Things went downhill quickly. He could have tried to make that that QB change. With Brady. The hit from Lewis, it kind of propelled that quicker. And it, really showed what Brady was able to do right away. His Bledsoe was kind of what at that point, like 30, 35-ish. Like, yeah,
he
right?
was in his 30s. Yeah, he was in, I think 31, 32 at that point.
Okay, so I'm confused off. But yeah, like, he was getting older. Like, Bledsoe was a good quarterback. He wasn't never great. So, yeah,
He was solid. He was solid.
Yeah.
But yeah, he got to a Super Bowl. But yeah, he wasn't great, and I think he could have tailed off like he did the previous year. And I think that Brady could have came in then. They could have went to Brady. So yeah, as I say, a lot of people say, oh, the only reason Brady started was because of Mo Lewis. I don't think that's totally the case. I think Bledsoe could have struggled that year, and Brady, or even the year after, and Brady could have taken over.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he could have. The way, if they were still struggling, because Bill kind of would have, if they were struggling, well, they made the Super Bowl, but, like if they kind of struggled, if they didn't get to the Super Bowl that year and they kind of were another mediocre team the next year, again, Bill's probably kind of sitting towards the hot seat. They're struggling. Yeah, you got to kind of try a quarterback change, and it, panned out. So, yeah, Brady would have got a shot, but, like, who knows? Like if Bledsoe won the Super Bowl that year, and they kind of did what they did with Garoppolo and kind of, kind of trade you away. We'll keep, I know Bill wanted to keep Garoppolo, but I know Kraft wanted Brady, but yeah, we definitely kind of saw there, I think we definitely would have saw Brady. Yeah, definitely like a year or two after that year.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see what happens if Bledsoe did end up staying healthy, but he got hurt, and then history, and then we all know the rest is history. But we got to get into this game, and Tampa Bay, obviously both teams coming in with a loss, but for Tampa Bay, I think they do a decent job in the run game. I think Brady has a really big game. I think the problem with the question to me for Belichick is, who is he going to take away in this game? And there's just so many weapons for the Bucs. It's going to be so hard. Do you double Mike Evans? Do you double Gronk? Which player do you double? It's going to be really, really hard to see. It's going to be really interesting to see what Belichick does. Does he play maybe some zone coverage and not let the Bucs beat him deep? I mean, it's just going to be very interesting to see what Belichick does in this game. He's going to try to take away one of those guys. I mean, last week he tried taking away Alvin Kamara, though, and the Patriots couldn't. So we'll see what happens. See what happens there. But in this game, I feel like Brady's going to throw 2 to 3 touchdown passes. I think they do a decent job running the ball. I do think Mac Jones does make some plays in the secondary. I know they got Richard Sherman, but I think he's past his prime. I do think Mac Jones makes some plays in the secondary, but I do think the difference is going to be he's going to turn the ball over a couple times. He's last week, an immobile quarterback. He's going to have trouble playing from behind. Trent Brown is probably going to be out, so that's going to give Shaq Barrett and the guy they drafted in the first round. I think they're going to get pressure. I think they might get some interior pressure too with Vita Vea. As David Andrews has struggled as well. But I do think this is a game where I think the Buccaneers control it. Maybe the Patriots score a late touchdown. But I got the Buccaneers beating the Patriots. I got Tom Brady beating every team in the NFL. I got Tampa Bay winning Sunday night. I got them beating the Patriots 30-17 in Foxborough Sunday night. But the big question is, Justin, can Belichick contain this Bucs offense, and can Mac Jones not make mistakes for the Patriots to pull an upset?
It's going to be very difficult. I thought Sunday was one of the worst. Sunday's game was, for me, one of the worst games I've ever seen the Patriots play. It was either that one or that Sunday night game at Detroit back in 2018 where they just did not show up to play. One of those, those are probably the two worst performances I've ever seen out of the Patriots, in my time. I just thought they put way too much zone coverage in their secondary. I know they're trying to take away Kamara, but I don't think he really trusts man-to-man right now without Gilmore. And I think it's a huge, huge issue when, you're going up against the Bucs.
Yeah, because if he plays Brady, Brady's going to pick apart his zone, even though he doesn't have the corners to match. So really, it's a talent issue because he doesn't have the corners to match up with those receivers. And then if he plays the zone, Brady's going to tear that zone apart. And really, they really don't have the pass rush to really get that much pressure on Brady either. So it's really going to be a really, really tough night for Belichick to try to come up with any kind of game plan against this Bucs offense. It's a talent issue. The Bucs are clearly the more talented team, and this goes back to the reason why Brady left New England. It's just the talent level on Tampa Bay is much better than the talent level on New England.
Absolutely, it absolutely is, and I thought he was going Tampa the whole time because I saw the weapons he would have with him.
And I think we might have lost Justin there. Oh, you're back. You're back, Justin.
Back and I thought he was going there pretty much kind of the whole time. I figured Tampa was probably the spot for him. You see all the weapons he's got now. We've seen if there's one guy that knows Bill Belichick or knows Tom Brady's weaknesses. It's Bill Belichick. But I don't see, with the talent this defense has, I just don't see him doing enough in this game. Again, because it's like you really can't try to scheme anything, because it's like Brady kind of knows what you do kind of scheming up-wise, like, you know, and it's tough to kind of get the Brady. If they can kind of get some interior, you know, if the Patriots, you know, can get up, you know, can rush them up, you know, the interior, the offensive, Tampa Bay's offensive line, you know, because the Rams kind of had success doing that last week, but I just don't see the Patriots being able to do enough to be able to do that right now. I just don't think man or zone's going to work against, you know, I don't think they have the corners to play man, and I don't think and obviously we've seen Brady with his own, he'll tear you apart in its own coverage. So, and for Mac, I thought last week I put that game, like the wide receivers did not show up. The tight ends didn't show up. It's unfortunate.
It wasn't all Mac Jones. It was just there were a couple of interceptions, but I put maybe that second interception on Jonas Smith. Yeah, I thought even the first one it was a catchable ball, and he threw it in a spot where I think that was a Smith too, and he should have caught it. I'm trying to think, it was either Aguilar or, but you know, but yeah, like you know, Mac actually showed, so, you know, again, Mac was our leading rusher last week. And I thought he threw out the knee brace and he kind of ran okay. Like, yeah, he's not no Lamar Jackson or anything like that. But look, I think James White too, losing him on the offside of the ball, because he's our best pass protector out of that backfield. You know, and you saw they brought in Brandon Bolden a lot in that second half, and he's not a great runner. So you're kind of giving up your play there when he comes in the backfield. So, you know, I know Raheem Stevenson, they didn't like him because of a fumble week 1, and I know he's not a great pass protector either, but you're going to have to probably throw him out there. I know Damien Harris isn't great at that either, but I know how it feels now to have Evan Ingram, because I cannot stand Jonas Smith. I told you Jonas Smith was not going to be that great of a pickup for them. It really wasn't. It's an upgrade of what they had last year, but anything was better than what they had last year at tight end. Yeah, Jonas Smith is not that good. Nelson Aguilar is not that good. That's the problem with free agency. You're paying, you know, B level, you know, B or C level players A level money, and because the Patriots couldn't draft skill guys, they had to do it in free agency. And you're seeing this on the offensive side. There's a bunch of overpaid guys on that offensive side of the ball for the Patriots. Absolutely. You know, Jacoby Meyer's been good, but that's been about it. Yeah, Jonas Smith been horrendous. I hope maybe and I know Devin Asiasi was not great last year, but I'd rather just see him as that second tight end than Jonas Smith right at the moment. So I'm hoping Asiasi come back. But yeah, you know, again, I was hoping these guys could do a little bit like an Aguilar, a Bourne, a Hunter Henry Smith, but no, they really have not done much. I think Hunter Henry had a hold too. I think Smith even had a holding call with 5 drop passes. So yeah, right now, this offense, I don't really put a ton right now on Mac Jones. And then my last point I'll make about the Patriots too is I cannot stand Josh McDaniels either play calling. So, you know, that first drive in the second half, they go down, or the second one because they threw the pick 6 on the first play. You know, Mac Jones throws the ball like 11 times. They get to the red zone, they run the ball 3 times. It's like you just trusted them to lead you down the field, Josh. Let them air it out. And then on that third down, when they're on 21-3, they hand the ball off. Yeah. That made no sense at all. Yeah. That made no sense at all. And then obviously they kicked the field goal. And after that, you knew the game was over because you know, down 15 with a rookie quarterback against a pretty good defense, the Saints, you knew the game was over. Yeah, absolutely. You did. I could not stand the play calling by Josh McDaniels. Again, you know, you seem to trust him the whole drive, and then all of a sudden you just don't anymore. And Mac was frustrated. Mac's like, I don't call the plays. You know, he sounded frustrated about it, about the red zone play calling. So again, I hope they trust Mac Jones more in the red zone, because you cannot kick field goals to meet the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that's all they can do right now in the red zone. It's just they kick field goals. Yeah, too many field goals, and I told you that in the preseason. Mm-hmm. Now, my last thought is the only way I feel like the Patriots can win this game is they got to completely shut down Tampa Bay's running game. If they completely do that and they force Brady to throw the ball, 40, 50 times, maybe they'd have a chance to win a low-scoring game. But outside of that, because they're not going to be able to run the ball on Tampa, I feel like they're going to have a really, really hard time running the ball on the Buccaneers. And I don't think they're going to score a ton of points on them. I don't think they're going to score more than – I picked them to score 17 points, but I don't think they're going to score more than 17 points. So they're just going to have to just somehow stop Tampa Bay's running game, I know they're not going to totally plan for that because that's not what Tampa does well, but they'd have to completely shut down Tampa's run game and force Brady to throw the ball a bunch of times and try to get as much pressure on him as possible. I think that's the only way that the Patriots can win this game.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do. I think you got to get Brady's face. You know, he's not going to throw tons of picks, but yeah, if you can, you know, if you saw what the kind of the Rams did, you know, Donald kind of got to him. That interior presence of the Rams defense kind of got to him. You know, if they could do that, kind of get in his face, not give him a lot of time to throw, and you know, I think they could win it. But yeah, you know, the problem is, you know, like they can't kind of. Because, yeah, you can't run against the Bucs, so it's not like they can try to have a 10-minute drive and you go 75 yards. So, yeah, it's going to be tough to move the ball against the Bucs, so they're going to have to find a way. But, yeah, they're going to have to get pressure on them. They're going to have to really try to make Brady one-dimensional. I just don't have much confidence right now without Gilmore. And hopefully after this week, Bill sees that – and that because it sounds like Gilmore's calf is fine. He's just holding out until – week 6 and 7 because Bill won't give him the money. So we'll get this week. Bill will, you know, give him a couple extra million here because we need him back.
Absolutely. So huge game on Sunday night. Huge game between the two teams. I'm really excited for it. I've never been more excited for a regular season NFL game. So it should be a great game on Sunday night. But before we get to our best bets, we got to talk about my team, and they're in an awful situation on Sunday. Going into play, they go into New Orleans. So the first time the Saints have been home since Hurricane Ida. That atmosphere is going to be a great atmosphere. The only saving grace the Giants have going into this game is the Saints won't have Tyron Armstead, and the Saints won't have Michael Thomas. That's the only chance the Giants have going into this game. I feel like if the Giants want any chance to win this game, they got to bottle up Alvin Kamara. I think they could do a decent job containing him in the run game. What scares me is him in the passing game. Blake Martinez out for the season with a torn ACL. I think they're going to have a lot of issues. They're going to have some issues with Kamara. I think he'll have a pretty big game in the passing game for them. I think he'll do a decent job in the running game too. And I think the Saints defense is going to they got a really good run defense as you saw last week against the Patriots. I think they're going to completely shut down Saquon Barkley. Demario Davis is one of the most underrated linebackers in this game. He can cover, as you saw last week. Demario Davis is very underrated. He can cover and he can stop the run. I think the Saints are going to completely shut down Saquon Barkley. And I think that Marshawn Lattimore is going to do a really good job with Kenny Golladay because Sterling Shepard might not play. So I think the Giants will have a hard time moving the ball. I do think Daniel Jones turns the ball over at least one. Even though he's played pretty well, I think he's going to turn the ball over once or twice. I think this is going to be a game where luckily the Giants, I think, get some pressure on Winston, maybe force a turnover there so they can get some points that way. But I think the Giants have a hard time moving the ball. I think the Saints win this by double digits and the Giants go to 0-4. I got the Saints beating the Giants 24-13. But Justin, with Tyron Armstead out, can the Giants get enough pressure on Jameis Winston, force some turnovers for them to pull the upset and get their first win?
I think they can, but you know, again, we've seen kind of Winston still kind of prone to, you know, the interceptions. I think it was right at the end of the half last week. He, you know, under pressure just throws up. You know, it was lucky ball to like Callaway. Somehow,
that play on third down, yeah.
Oh my, that was one of the luckiest plays I've ever seen. You know, that was very unfortunate being a Patriot fan there, but you know, I think they can. You know, he'll try to force a ball in a tight window under pressure. Losing Blake Martinez hurts big time, but this Giants pass rush does need to. Again, like the Giants in a big spot haven't been able to get that shutdown drive. They may need to be able to do that this week. And, you know, Saints finally back home. I think, it's going to be tough either without Blake Martinez now with Kamara. You know, he killed us last week big game last week. So, you know, again, the defense has to kind of help out the offense right now with their struggles and kind of try to force a couple turnovers, keep them in a short field. But I have the Saints win this game 24-16. I don't think there'd be enough. And my one point in the Giants offense right now, you got to get rid of Jason Garrett.
Oh, absolutely. And listen, to be honest, I've been a defender of Jason Garrett. I was a fan of Jason Garrett. Ted Keys destroyed me. He said he was really mad at me when I said I like Jason Garrett. And Ted Keys did not like that. Keys Bros did not like that at all when I said I like Jason Garrett because I thought he had success in Dallas as a head coach. I thought he had some success in Dallas as a head coach. But the conservative play calling is what's driving me crazy. And I would say, obviously, the Washington game when they ran the ball twice before they threw the ball, And Joe brought this up on Keys of the City on 3rd and 19. If you're going to believe in Daniel Jones, you don't throw a screen to Saquon Barkley there. That cannot happen. That cannot happen. If you believe in Daniel Jones, you draw up a play where he's going to get you into field goal range to win that game. That just shows you that this offensive coordinator has no faith in this quarterback. And this quarterback hasn't really gotten a chance. He really hasn't gotten a chance to win a game because Jason Garrett hasn't given – I'm not saying I'm not totally sold on Daniel Jones, but he really hasn't given him a chance to win a game. And Jason Garrett did not do that last week. So you're completely right about that. And I was a defender of Jason Garrett for a while. But I think the problem is he got a job right after he got fired in Dallas, and he never learned from his mistakes. I don't think he was a bad coach in Dallas. I thought he was a good to above average coach in Dallas. Won 3 division titles. I know people are going to think I'm crazy saying it, but he won 3 division titles. But the problem is him jumping right into this situation. That's what really hurt him because he didn't learn from his mistakes. And then I'll take it a little bit further with Joe Judge. I feel like Joe Judge right now he's on the hot seat too. He's on the hot seat too because, and I think the worst play the worst decision Joe Judge made in that game on Sunday was 4th and 4 from the Atlanta 39. He didn't either kick the field goal or go for it. This is the NFL in 2021. You cannot be doing that. So Judge and Garrett being conservative was definitely a reason they lost that game. And then lastly, the biggest reason they lost that game was because of the offensive line. And you look at, I look at 3 plays in that game. 1, the Grady Jarrett sack in the red zone. 2nd, the bad snap. And those led to 2 field goals, which could have been touchdowns. And then 3rd, Nate Soldier, who has got to be happy they brought in Isaiah Wilson because Nate Soldier has got to be gone. That play, Nate Soldier, the hold, that crushed that drive. That's what set up that 3rd and 19 was Nate Soldier getting destroyed by Dante Fowler on that play. So those were, my reasons why Garrett and Judge are on the hot seat, and why Garrett needs to be fired, Judge is on the hot seat, and why the biggest reason why the Giants lost on Sunday.
Yeah, no, it's been bad. Yeah, the conservative, because it's like, didn't you bring in Galladay? Like, Kadarius Toney's a deep threat. Like, didn't you guys bring in these guys for like deep threats? And it's like they call it once on one play or like once a drive, they'll hit it, and it's like you never go back to it. That it just it becomes like conservative. It just I don't get it. And Jones hasn't been. If you told me after week 3, Daniel Jones isn't the biggest problem, I'm like Giants are kind of I guess the offensive line didn't play great, but the first 2 weeks, like they played pretty well. And it's like if you kind of told me that
offensive line was terrible on Sunday.
It was terrible
and
Sunday.
then it wasn't great against Washington. But Daniel Jones, he's not been the biggest problem. No. I think the defense has been a bigger problem. I think the offensive line's obviously been a bigger problem, and the run game's been a problem. The run game, Jason Barkley hasn't really gotten the job done. Let's be honest. I know the offensive line definitely plays a big factor in that, but the run game has been a problem too. So Daniel Jones in 2 of the 3 games. He didn't play as well as he did against Washington as he did against Atlanta, but Daniel Jones didn't play that badly against it. Didn't play poorly against Atlanta. He didn't play great against Denver, but he didn't play. Washington played well, and against Atlanta, he didn't play that poorly. It's been other things around Daniel Jones that have been hurting the Giants.
Yeah, absolutely. It has, and it was nice to see Tony on the field, Kadarius Toney in the field last week. I hope they get him more involved, but the offensive line's really struggled. But it's like if this is why I don't like. I know Joe Judge wasn't the guy that drafted him, but the whole organization seemed to believe in Daniel Jones, and it's like they don't. And then it's like you fire that kind of staff. Now you bring in this staff that I don't think they're high on Daniel Jones. Besides your owner, I just don't. And Gettleman, I don't think this coaching staff really believes, and I think it's kind of a trust. And he hasn't really. He hasn't lost you games yet, but you got to give him a couple chances because it seems like the guys you picked up were to kind of get this offense more explosive. And it's like they're not really doing that so far. And I know it's only week 3, but you're 0-3 and your schedule is not easy till December.
Look at the schedule. Where's the wins coming from? At New Orleans, at Dallas. You saw the way Dallas looked Monday night. You got the Rams. You got the Panthers. All right, maybe that could be a win. You got at Kansas City. That's a loss. So it's probably going to be at minimum a 2-6, 1-7 start. You're going to be starting 1-7 for the 3rd time in 4 years in the Dave Gettleman era. And then you got the Raiders. Okay, maybe a win. And then the Buccaneers. So you probably are going to at best start 2-8 or 3-7. And that's why, obviously, I think they're going to have to clean house. Unfortunately, Daniel Jones, like Sam Darnold, might have to get pushed out of there because the Giants might want to reset the clock at the quarterback position. But it's looking like the way with the Giants losing two winnable games and the way the schedule looks, it looks like they're in for a long season.
Yeah, it does. And Now, talking about the new quarterback, and there's an old misconnection right now. I know they love kind of the Eli connection. Matt
We'll
Corral
get there.
right now
We'll talk about Matt Corral, and we'll talk about that. We'll get to that.
Really good. He looks like the only quarterback right now that could be a franchise guy at the moment, the college level. So
we'll see there. We will get to that. And my bad, Jace. We're going to talk about the Thursday night game really quick before we get to best bets. Well, so we'll get to the Thursday night game. Not a good Thursday night game at all. We usually open with the Thursday night game, but with everything going on this week, we're not in this game. We're not going to get to that. Even though the Bengals have played well, Bengals have been a surprise team this year, 2-1, had a big win over the Steelers. I think the Bengals are an improved team. I think their defense has improved with Logan Wilson at middle linebacker. I've always liked Jesse Bates at safety. I think DJ Reader's been good. So in the middle of that defense, they're improved. I think Joe Burrow has played well played well this year so far. I mean, him and Jamar Chase is a really good connection. Joe Mixon has played well. And I think that continues Thursday night. I think they run the ball well. I think Joe Burrow plays well. I think they get pressure on Trevor Lawrence. And obviously, we'll get to this later in the season. I think Urban Meyer is losing this locker room in Jacksonville. I think Trevor Lawrence struggles again. And that's why I got the Bengals winning 27-13. But Justin, the question: can Trevor Lawrence outduel Joe Burrow, shock everyone, and pull an upset?
Probably not. Yeah. Now, not all the interceptions are on Lawrence, but he already has 7 interceptions right now. They have some guys on the offensive side of the ball that could score, but I think Cincinnati's going to get after him. I think the Bengals are going to make it a tough day. Jaguars played well against the Cardinals for the first half, but again, second half they come out, turn the ball over. That was really about it. So I don't see Trevor Lawrence being able to do that in a short week. Yeah, the Denver team, I don't know why I keep saying Denver, but Cincinnati, their defense is really, really improved. They already have 10 sacks already. I really do like the Bengals team, and there's a very good shot they're sitting at 3-1 come Friday morning.
Oh, absolutely, without question. So now we're going to get to our best bets, and it was our first week of doing this segment. We pick 3 games we like against the spread every single week. Me and Justin, I'm going to start. I'll start. And I'll pick my 3 games. Game number 1, I'm obviously going to go with the game we spent 25 minutes on, the Patriots and the Buccaneers. I just think that this is a Bucs team that's just more talented than the Patriots. We talked about it. So my first one is the Bucs minus 6.5 against the Patriots. Second game, I'm going with the Thursday night game. I got the Bengals beating the minus 7.5 against the Jaguars. I think that the Jaguars are a complete mess right now, and the Bengals are improved. We just discussed that. And my last one is I got the Chiefs minus 7 against the Eagles. I looked at Jalen Hurts on Monday night, and he was not good at all. I think the Eagles might stay in that game early because of the 2 deep zone coverage they play, because they'll limit some of Kansas City's big plays. But ultimately, I don't see Kansas City losing 3 in a row. I think they'll play a clean game, and Andy Reid's return to Philadelphia. His second game he's going to be coaching in Philadelphia since he's been the Eagles coach. I think that Kansas City wins. I think that Kansas City wins this game by 2 scores. So that's my third game is Kansas City over Philadelphia. So I got the Buccaneers minus 6.5, Bengals minus 7.5, and the Chiefs minus 7. Justin, your best bets.
Mine, I got the same one as you started out with. I got Tampa Bay Bucks. I just don't think the Patriots are going to be able to keep up with them, and I don't think they'll be able to do enough to slow down Tom Brady in the Buccaneers offense. So I had the Buccaneers at minus 6.5 on the road. My second one, I had the Monday night game, the Los Angeles Chargers at home. I think for the Raiders right now, again, they got very lucky Sunday. They should have blown out the Dolphins. They're banged up right now. They've already played 2 OT games with an East Coast game. They already, already. So I think for the Chargers, I think they're gonna be able to do nothing in this offense. They can. The Raiders can't keep relying on Derek Carr right now. So I'm gonna take the Chargers to get the win at 3.5 at home Monday night, and then I have the Atlanta Falcons plus 1.5 at home against Washington. I know, Atlanta went on the road, got a nice win at New York, but this Washington defense is just horrendous in the secondary. They can't stop anybody right now. I think Matt Ryan can put up some numbers. I think get the ball to Ridley, hopefully Kyle Pitts, and I think Atlanta at home. I can't take Washington right now as a road favorite. They're just, again, they're not a very good football team right now, and I think Atlanta's defense does enough to slow down Taylor Heinicke in this Falcon or in this and I don't think Washington's able to do enough offensively. I think Atlanta's defense has been okay. They put all right last week against the Giants. And I think they do enough at home to get the win.
Absolutely, absolutely. So those are our best bets, and now we are going to get to the slate of NFL games, and we are going to start with a big game in Dallas. You got two teams that are leading their division in Dallas this week as the 3-0 Panthers face the 2-1 Cowboys. And in this game, I think the Panthers obviously are going to miss Christian McCaffrey. This is going to be the big test for Sam Darnold. This will be the test to see if Sam Darnold is a franchise quarterback, because the Panthers have not, in all three of their wins, they have not trailed in any of the games. So this is going to be a big test to see if Sam Darnold is a franchise quarterback. But I do feel like in this game with the Cowboys, with the Panthers not having J.C. Horn, he's out for the season. They did trade for C.J. Henderson from Jacksonville. I do think Dallas is going to be able to – I think they'll have a little bit of trouble running the ball because of the Panthers. There's a Shaq Thompson and Derek Brown and Brian Burns. I think they'll be able to stop the run. But I do think that Dallas is going to be able to throw the ball all over the Panthers secondary. I feel like Dak Prescott will have a big game, have 2 or 3 touchdowns. I do think Sam Darnold will have success getting the ball to, DJ Moore. And I think Robbie Anderson will get going this week too. I think it's a close game, but at the end of the day, I am going with the Cowboys to go to 3-1. I got them beating the Panthers 31-24. But Justin, can Sam Darnold lead the Panthers to a 4-0 start?
It's going to be a tough task to do, but I have the Cowboys knocking them off 27-20. I'm excited to see what Chuba Hubbard could do in the backfield, taking over for Christian McCaffrey. He was a 2,000-yard rusher at Oklahoma State. He caught a bunch of passes last week. He's a pretty good pass catcher out of the backfield as well. He was last year, the year before that was kind of like a guy that everybody thought could win a Heisman as a running back. So you got a pretty good running back coming out of the backfield here for Carolina as your backup. So I think he could if he can kind of step up. This Dallas defense is in the secondary still. A little bit kind of shaky, but overall they seem like they're getting better. Micah Parsons right now has just been an animal on the defensive side coming off the edge. Again, and I know for Carolina they haven't they played well against the Saints, but they played really well against the Saints. They played a pretty bad Houston team last week, but
and the Jets
the Jets too, which wasn't great. They only got 19 points, but I know kind of towards the red zone they weren't able to do much. I think it's going to be tough. I think maybe they could hit on some deep routes to Darnold, but I just don't see them doing enough right now. I think he could play pretty well, but without McCaffrey, I think it's a tough task without him going to Dallas on the road and knocking them off.
We'll stay in the NFC East as Patrick Mahomes heads to Philadelphia as the Chiefs, who've lost 2 in a row, face the Eagles, who've lost 2 in a row. And obviously, I talked about this game, my best bet. I got the Chiefs winning 27-17. But the big question here is, can Jalen Hurts bounce back from his Monday night performance and hand the Chiefs their 3rd straight loss?
I think it's I think it's very possible with how bad Kansas City's defense has looked. They're horrendous defensively. I think their read option could really come in handy here for the Eagles. Hurts is a great runner. I'd love to see like Jalen Reagor get some sweeps out to the outside as well. If they're balanced, I think if they could kind of keep it balanced, kind of keep Kansas City on their toes, I think they could keep this a pretty good ball game. But if not, then I think Kansas City could kind of run away with it. But you can't give the Chiefs extra possessions in this game. Jalen Hurts has to protect the football. I think he can. I just don't think they have enough high-power offense here to knock off the Chiefs.
We got the Browns heading to Minnesota to face the Vikings, and I think this game's going to be up and down. I think the Browns will do whatever they want in the run game with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. I think Odell Beckham will have a touchdown. I think Baker Mayfield plays well. And I think on the other side, these are not the Bears offensively. They got some weapons. They got Clint Kubiak as the offensive coordinator. So I feel like their Cousins going to continue to play well. I think he plays well in this game. Gets the ball to Thielen, gets the ball to Jefferson. I do think Madison does get some yards on the ground too. We'll see if Cook plays, but if he doesn't, Madison's a good backup. So I do think the Vikings stay with them, but I do think Myles Garrett becomes the difference. He makes a huge play at the end of the game, forces a turnover from Kirk Cousins, and that's why I got the Browns going to 3-1. I got the Browns beating the Vikings 31-24. But Justin, can Kirk Cousins stay hot and lead the Vikings to their 2nd straight win?
It's going to be tough. It's a tough one at home, playing a really good Browns defense. I'm with you. I think they're going to have a hard time slowing down Myles Garrett. If they could kind of keep the ball out of Baker Mayfield's hands, kind of, keep a lead somewhat with the running game that was great last week against Seattle, but, Seattle's defense is horrendous. I think, yeah, they have enough guys in the secondary to be able to or I think they have enough weapons offensively to put up some points. I just don't think they have enough here to knock off the Cleveland Browns.
We got a commenter. Stay on with us. We're gonna get to baseball. We're gonna get to baseball. So stay on. So the guy is the person who commented. Just stay on. We're gonna get to baseball. But we gotta keep going on the NFL slate. And now we got the Titans heading to MetLife Stadium to face the Jets. And I think AJ Brown might not play. Julio Jones might not play either. So that might keep this game close because the Jets will be keyed in on Derrick Henry. But I think Derrick Henry takes over in the second half. And I got the Titans beating the Jets 24-9. Justin, I assume you got the Titans as well because of how pathetic the Jets offense has been throughout the first 3 weeks.
Yeah, I have the Titans 27-13. No Brown or Jones Julio Jones may not play. So I could see this being an opportunity where they went to Cincinnati last year. Tennessee just laid an egg, but I think Tennessee should be able to kind of do whatever they want. And as long as they protect the football, it's been tough for the Jets. Zach Wilson kind of had a rough time here. Doesn't have a good offensive line yet. Titans should win by 2 scores.
We have the Colts heading to Miami to face the Dolphins, and this is a very interesting game. Another reunion game. Funny, we didn't talk about some of the other reunion games. Obviously, Kevin Stefanski faced the former team with the Vikings. Here's another reunion game as Jacoby Brissett faces his former team in the Indianapolis Colts. And I think this is going to be a really close competitive game, but I just don't love what I've seen from the Colts offensive line. I think Flores bringing blitz is going to expose that. Carson Wentz hasn't been able to push the ball down the field. I do think Indy gets a little bit of a run game going, but I do think the Dolphins defense forces a turnover or two from Wentz. And I do think Brissett plays mistake-free against the Colts. I mean, and I do think the Dolphins grind out a win. I think the Dolphins go to 2-2, grind out a close win. I got the Dolphins beating the Colts 20-17. But Justin, can Carson Wentz lead the Colts to their first win?
I think they can. I have the Colts winning this one 21-17. It's been a tough 3 weeks for the Colts. The schedule maker did not do them any favors with their first 3 games. But I really felt like the Dolphins didn't really play that well last week. I just thought the Raiders just kind of kept the Dolphins in that game themselves. The Raiders should have really blown them out. But
yeah, they were up 25-14, really up 25-7 because of that turnover.
Yeah, but that's Gruden. Gruden loves to just run the ball, try to kill the clock, but that never works, and they blow every single game. But I think, Indy's defense keeps them in the game. I thought they did pretty well last week against the Titans offense. Again, I know Wentz has been banged up. I know, but I think, I think they can force some turnovers, the Colts defense, and I think Carson Wentz is able to make enough plays in this game to get them a win. I just think the Colts have too good of a roster to sit there at 0-4 too. Like I think they find a way. I think they're too good to be 0-4.
But the problem is there's guys in that roster who haven't played at their potential, and they got injuries on that offensive line. We got Brendan Smith hurt, Quentin Nelson hurt, and they got Xavier Rhodes hurt. So I don't think that roster has completely played to their potential. But they very easily could win that game. It's a 50-50 game on Sunday between those two teams. But we got to get to an NFC matchup in Atlanta as the Falcons take on the Washington football team. I think this is going to be a close, competitive game. I think that both defenses are going to get some pressure on the quarterbacks. I think both defenses force the quarterbacks to make a mistake. But I think the difference in this game is I'm taking Matt Ryan over Taylor Heineke. I think this game is close late, but I think Matt Ryan engineers another game-winning drive for the Falcons, and that's why I got the Falcons going to 2-2 and beating the Washington football team 23-20. But Justin, can the Washington football team put enough pressure on Matt Ryan to get their second win?
Yeah, this is one of my best bets. I have Atlanta 24-21. I didn't like the way the whole Washington defense has not been great so far. The secondary pass rush, Montez Sweat's been really good, but other than that, last week I know they put a really good Bills team. They really couldn't do much at all last week defensively. I think they can. I think it's very possible. You can kind of see, Matt Ryan throwing a couple interceptions if he is under pressure, but I think the way Washington defense is playing right now, I don't have a ton of confidence in them, and I see Matt Ryan making enough plays in this game to get a win at home.
Got an NFC North matchup in Chicago as the Lions, who lost a brutal game last week at home to the Ravens, face the Bears with a coach that has no idea how to coach Justin Fields. And I really don't have confidence this coach is going to know how to coach him this week or even who the quarterback's going to be. And that's why I got the Lions coming in and pulling this upset. I got the Lions winning it 21-17 over the Bears. I just think that, I don't think Matt Nagy's going to adjust. I think he's too stubborn. And the thing is I gave Matt Nagy – I was actually pretty high on Matt Nagy. I gave him the benefit of the doubt when Mitch Trubisky was there. I put it on Trubisky. I put it on the GM for passing on Mahomes and Watson. I put it on Trubisky because Matt Nagy's never had a losing season as an NFL head coach. But last week showed how stubborn Matt Nagy was. How the heck could you let Justin Fields drop back to throw, not run any zone read or read option, not roll him out, not build an offense to suit his strengths? Matt Nagy threw him to the wolves. So that game plan was 100% on Matt Nagy, and that offensive coaching staff did an absolutely terrible job last week. And I don't think they're going to do a good job this week. That's why I got the Lions going in there and getting their first win and upsetting the Bears 21-17. But Justin, can Matt Nagy adjust to somehow can Matt Nagy bounce back from an absolutely pathetic coaching performance to get the Bears their second win?
I don't think so. I got the Lions too. I never thought I'd ever pick the Lions, but I got them 2017. I don't know if you saw this. They had 47 total yards. They lost 67 yards in sacks. So they had they were sacked more yardage than they actually had total offense. In 2021, that's bad. I cannot believe they didn't fire him after that performance. You got, I don't think so. I'm with you. He doesn't suit what Justin Fields can do. Yeah, with the option stuff. He's such a great runner. Roll him out because your offensive line is so bad. I don't have any kind. Did you hear him the press conference last week? He's like, we're kind of finding out something we didn't know about Justin Fields before we started giving him reps. It's like, you're not even that's on you. That's not on, we just figured this out on Justin Fields. It's like, you should have been giving him first team reps. I don't have any confidence in Nagy. And again, they lose Sunday. There is no excuse why the guy should not be fired.
The thing is,
it's bad.
I agree. And the thing is, Nagy, he came there, in 2018 to try to develop Mitch Trubisky, failed at that. But the reason was because Trubisky was no good and they passed on Mahomes and Watson. So he gets a second chance as an offensive mind to develop another QB. And it looks like he's failing doing that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It does. And I don't think it's getting any better. I don't. Again, Detroit should have won. I know Baltimore is a bad spot for him, but Detroit's going to play hard. And Detroit's going to come after Fields, and I just don't have – and I don't think the game plan changes for the Bears. What kind of showed you that Matt Nagy's going to do it? He hasn't
adjusted in 4 years, and I don't think he's adjusting on Sunday, and if they lose, that should cost him his job. He should be fired. Absolutely.
I 100% agree with you because you're going to get this guy killed, Field. You keep running the way you're running this offense right now. So, yeah, I totally agree. You got to get rid of him.
Without question. Last 1 o'clock game, we got the Texans going to Buffalo to face the Bills. I think the Bills do whatever they want against the Texans, and they win 34-10. I assume you agree, Justin.
Yeah, I got Bills 34-13. Bills, yeah, they should torch them through the air. Hopefully, they air out the ball for Davis Mills this week because you're going to have to. And I would like to see that. But, yeah, 34-13, Bills should win big.
Got a huge game in the NFC West as the Cardinals travel to L.A. to face the Rams. But it comes down to this for me. It's Cliff Kingsbury against Sean McVay. And Sean McVay has owned Cliff Kingsbury his entire career. At 4-0 against Cliff Kingsbury. And I think it's going to be more of the same on Sunday. I think that the Rams are going to do whatever they want on offense. Stafford's going to have a big game, throw 3 or 4 touchdowns. They'll be able to run the ball. They get Dontrell Henderson back. Him and Sony Michel, that combination, they're going to be able to run the ball. I'm kicking myself. I had the Rams going to the NFC Championship game before the Cam Akers injury, and I'm kicking myself I don't have them going to the NFC Championship game because right now I think they're the best team in the NFL. Them are the Bucks, but I think or the Bills, but I think they're the best team in the NFL. I think that the pressure that Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd are going to put on the quarterback. You got the top corner in Jalen Ramsey. You got Darius Williams. And I think in this game, Arizona might move the ball a little bit because they got a pretty good offense too. But I think the Rams win this, and I got the Rams winning this handedly. I got the Rams winning 31-20. I just don't trust Cliff Kingsbury. Terrible move last week, kicking a 68. What are you doing? Kicking a 68-yard field goal. What are you doing? I don't trust him. I know they're 3-0 because of the talent. It's not because of the coaching. It's because of the talent. That's why they're 3-0. The one good move Cliff Kingsbury made was getting rid of Josh Rosen and getting Kyler Murray. I think it's a major coaching mismatch. I got the Rams winning 31-20. But Justin, can Kyler Murray outdo Matthew Stafford and take the Cards to 4-0?
Yeah, you mentioned it's a coaching mismatch big time. So yeah, I don't think so. They certainly had the talent in Arizona to do it. But yeah, as you mentioned too, McVay's 4-0. I don't see Cliff Kingsbury getting the win here. This week, I think they're going to keep it interesting. I think Murray can make enough plays to keep this thing interesting. I think Hopkins could, again, like if he keeps spreading the ball around to Kirk more, Hopkins, I think they'll score some points, but I just don't see the Rams getting stopped much at all. Cliff Kingsbury they have a great defense. He's not the greatest defensive-minded guy. Texas Tech, he did not care about defense.
I don't think he knows anything about defensive football. No. I don't think he knows anything about defensive football. That's the problem. Because they got talent in the defense. I don't think he knows anything about defensive football, in my opinion.
No, you could just watch it for these years at Texas Tech. He wanted to give up points as quick as possible so you get the ball back. So I got the Rams winning this thing 30-23.
Staying in the NFC West, we got the Seahawks traveling to Santa Clara to face the Niners, and I think this is a close, really, really close competitive game between these two teams. There's a chance George Kittle might not play for the Niners, but I do think Seattle's defense against the run has not been good. Madison ran all over them. Henry ran all over them the week before. I think Seattle's defense is just not it. The problem with Seattle's defense is their two top players are at positions you don't want your two top players to be at safety and linebacker. You don't want that if you're building a championship defense. That's why this defense is not good. I think the Niners do whatever they want against this defense in the run game. I do think Wilson, though, has a big game, just like Rodgers did against the 49ers. I do think that Wilson has a good game, too. I think it comes right down to the end, but I got the 49ers winning it close, going to 3-1. I got the Niners beating the Seahawks 27-24. But, Justin, can Russell Wilson carry this team to their end this two-game losing streak and carry this team to their second straight win?
It's going to be a very difficult task. Now, through the first 3 games of the season, Seattle's last in percentage time with the ball, in the second half. It's like 32% they've had possession of the football. And I think with the Niners run game, I think they could just have a 7-8 minute drive, and just like the last 2 weeks, that they can't get Russell Wilson on the field, and and again they go 3 and out or just have a quick kind of 10-15 play. I don't see them. I don't see their defense making enough plays, and I think it's lost more on the defense and Russell Wilson. I think the first half he's gonna make some plays, but I think in the second half I just don't think Russell Wilson's gonna have enough opportunities with the ball to get them points. And I got the Niners win this thing 28-21.
We got the Ravens heading to Denver to face the Broncos, and I think this is going to be a really close competitive game. I think Denver's going to have success running the football. I do think Baltimore is going to have some trouble running the ball, but I think the difference in this game is going to be the quarterback, and then some of the receiver injuries for Denver too. I think that Marlon Humphrey is going to lock up Cortland Sutton. I do think the Baltimore defense is going to force some turnovers, and I do think Lamar Jackson, I think they'll have trouble running the ball, but I think he's going to do enough with his legs, and he's going to make enough more plays and less mistakes than Teddy Bridgewater. And I think that the Ravens are going to go into Denver and pull the upset. I got the Ravens beating the Broncos 23-20. But Justin, can the Broncos D carry them to a 4-0 start?
I think they can. Now, for the Broncos, your first 2 opponents are combined 0-9. So they really, this is really their first kind of real test of the year. I think they're really good against the run game. I think they do enough to slow down Lamar. I think they make enough. I know losing Bradley Chubb is huge, and not having him, hurts. And I know kind of injury-wise, wide receiver. They're kind of banged up, but I think Denver's defense does enough to slow them down. I think they're going to kind of try to take away, I think they're going to kind of try to force Lamar to make some, bad, poor throws. In the secondary, I think their secondary does enough, and I think Teddy Bridgewater manages the game well enough to keep Denver in this game and eventually win it. I think the Broncos win 23-21.
We got a rematch of Super Bowl 45 in Green Bay on Sunday afternoon as the Packers face the Steelers. And I think the Packers win this game by double digits. I think the Steelers did not move on from they should have moved on from Big Ben. I think this offensive line is terrible. They have trouble running the football. I think their offense has been anemic so far. I think the Steelers defense, if they have TJ Watt, might keep them in this game. But as you know, that's been a huge loss for the Steelers. Ever since this Steelers defense has lost TJ Watt, it's not been the same defense. It shows you why he's arguably the best pass rusher in the game, because they haven't been able to get anywhere near the pressure they did when they had TJ Watt. That first week in Buffalo, they got a ton of pressure on Josh Allen. And they got some pressure on Derek Carr, too, in the first half against the Raiders. TJ Watt goes down. That all goes away. And Carr's had success. Burrow had success against them. I think the Packers win this game by more if TJ Watt doesn't play. But if TJ Watt plays, I do think, and without David Bakhtiari, I do think the Steelers keep it close for a while. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I think Aaron Rodgers has a good game. It's Aaron Rodgers against a washed-up Big Ben. That's why I got the Packers going to 3-1 and winning by double digits, 27-16. But the question is, Justin, can the Steelers defense contain Rodgers for them to get their second win?
Well, you said it. If they have TJ Watt, then I think it's very possible. But without him, no. Because again, you kind of saw they kind of struggled last week, and I know a bunch of turnovers kind of hurt them. Last week for the Steelers, but look, they got to get off the field in third down, which again is tough. But if Rodgers and kind of this offense looks like they've really found a rhythm right now, and I just think if they can't get any pass rush on them, I just think that's going to hurt the secondary because look, if they could kind of if they can take away Devontae Adams, kind of make like anybody one of those other wide receivers kind of beat you. Maybe have a better shot, but right now I think Rodgers is he's finally in a rhythm, and I think his offense is as well. And I just think the Steelers are going to have a tough time in this game, just trying to do anything offensively. And again, you got to score some points to beat Rodgers, and I just don't think you're going to be able to do that. So I have the Packers 24-14.
We got an AFC West matchup on Monday night in Los Angeles, and this was one of Justin's best bets. So I'll just talk about this game. I think this is going to be and because Justin gave you his opinion on this one, I think this is going to be a really close, competitive game between these two teams. I think it's going to be up and down the field with Derek Carr and Justin Herbert. But at the end of the day, I'm going to go with the home team. And I remember this game last year. I think the Chargers won it, had it won at the end. And then I think they wiped the touchdown off the board and they lost the game. So I got the Chargers winning a close one. I got the Chargers winning 31-27 on Monday night. So the Yankees and Red Sox are going in opposite directions. But before we talk about that, we got a couple promos from Clovercrest Media.
It's been a pretty wet summer in Connecticut, and that means more mosquitoes than ever. If you didn't have your home service for mosquito control and find you're spending most of your time outside swatting those little pests, you are in luck. Mosquito Shield of Central Connecticut provides the best value in mosquito control services because of how they treat your yard using the Mosquito Shield tailored treatment system. They don't use a fixed schedule or an identical product, one-size-fits-all service program because you can't control mosquitoes on a set number of sprays or visits. Unlike the competition, Mosquito Shield of Central Connecticut will service you for the season, whatever it takes to provide superior results. This promise has awarded them an industry-leading consumer retention rating of 90%. Visit MosquitoShieldCT.com to schedule an appointment with Wade DeCesare and enjoy the rest of your summer mosquito-free.
Looking for a casual baseball podcast to listen to? Well, Baseball with the Bard, presented by Clovercrest Media, has just what you're looking for. Tyler Bard and Noah Cross cover a wide range of happenings in the MLB and then dive into a deep focus on the Red Sox and Yankees. Join us every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for your weekly dose of Baseball with the Bard.
And how about those Yankees? We got to start with that. I mean, they've won 7 in a row. They're in great position. They're 2 games. They hold the first wild card in the American League. They're 2 games ahead of the Red Sox, 3 games ahead of Toronto. And the big story is Giancarlo Stanton. He has been phenomenal. It all started Friday night, the 3-run homer to put the Yankees up 6-0. That ended that game. Then on Saturday, down 2-1 in the 8th, hits the grand slam. That ended that game. Then on Sunday, after Judge's double to put the Yankees up 4-3, he hits a 2-run homer. I don't think that ball's landed yet either. That ended that game. And then last night, a 3-run homer in the 7th, that ended that game. 4 home runs, 13 RBIs, the best 4-game stretch of his career. At this point, Yankee fans need to stop bashing Giancarlo Stanton. All the Stanton bashing needs to end, and I was guilty of it. And then Joe yelled at me 2 years on Keys to the City when I commented about Stanton not hitting in the postseason. The Stanton bashing needs to end. It's over. No, I honestly, as a Yankee fan, I haven't seen a player have hit in a 4-game stretch in the regular season hit this many, play this way, or hit this many meaningful home runs. Every single one of those home runs had meaning. They all pretty much ended the Red Sox or Blue Jays' chance to win that game. Absolutely phenomenal. Justin, your thoughts on Giancarlo?
Wow, that was an impressive weekend. Especially that ball he hit out last night. Like, that thing was, like, down and in. That thing was looking like it was going to be, like, in the dirt almost. And he absolutely clobbered it. Yeah, he's been on fire right now. I think it's since, like, August 5th. Judge and Stan combined have 35 home runs and 95 RBIs.
Unbelievable.
Those two.
Unbelievable.
Those two have been on fire. And the Stan, again, when it matters, Stan's been good. You go back to last year in the playoffs, he had big 6 home runs in that series against the Rays last year. He's been good when it kind of gets to this time of year, and right now he's on fire. So I think he's had 91 or 92 at bats this month. 10 of them have been home runs. So this is Giancarlo Stanton that we've all thought we were going to get from Miami. He's been on fire, and look. If him and Judge could carry this team, but if they go LeMahieu or Rizzo, Gallo could kind of sprinkle in like an RBI or 2 in there, they have a chance if these 2 are locked in. Because again, if guys are on base, then they're tough to pitch to right now.
And I think a big reason why these guys, Judge and Stan, especially Stan, is doing so well is because of what Rizzo has done at the number 2 spot. I think Rizzo had that double on Friday night before Stan hit that home run. He got on base on Saturday before Stan hit the grand slam. And then, he had that double on us on Sunday. And then he got that big hit last night to tie the game. I think, Rizzo has done a really good job at the top of this lineup. LeMahieu's been better. Rizzo's been, I think, really good, really good in the 2-hole. And obviously talking about Aaron Judge. I mean, Aaron Judge saved this team early in September when they were on that losing streak. That he's had 3 huge hits for this team when they've trailed in the 8th inning. He had that 3-run homer against the Mets. He had that 3-run homer to tie the game against the Twins, and then he had that big 2-run double when he pumped his fist on Sunday night. So Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton really been saving this team. I like the fact that Rizzo has really done well. LeMahieu's been better. I mean, the question with this lineup is the other guys, the Gallos, the Torreses, the Urshela's, those are I know Urshela home run that night, but those guys got to step up around these players. That's what's going to make this lineup great heading into the postseason.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, well, and with Rizzo, I agree. He's been a huge help this type of lineup. But even putting him between Judge and Stanton, it's like Saturday, and I don't know why Court did this because Rizzo's numbers are like it's 100-point higher. His averages against lefties than righties. And I don't know why he went to Darwitz and Hernandez there because lefty on lefty, but Rizzo's better against lefties. They breaking that up too. I think it's been huge because obviously with the 3-batter rule, Darwinson had to stay in there in a big spot against Stan, and we all know what happened. So Rizzo's been that I think has helped as well with where he is in the order. But like Gallo at one point had like 8 home runs his last 9 games. I know he's starting to cool off now, but like if he can sprinkle an occasional hit or 2, I'll take it. Gary seems like he has the worst luck in the world. Like I thought that Rangers series, he hit 6 line shots just right at somebody. It's just like, what are you gonna do? Yeah, Torres. I just don't really know what Torres. It's just I don't know how you could be a 38 home run hitter 3 years ago, and now you can't even. He's not even.
That's been the biggest mystery of this lineup is Gleyber Torres.
Yeah. I don't know what's wrong, and I guess he's been a little bit better since moving to second. But again, I don't know if I don't think that answer. I don't think that's going to solve the whole thing, and it hasn't yet. But like LeMahieu hasn't been great. He's been better, but if guys could just do a little bit, then with Judge and Stan the way they're playing, then. Again, they're going to be tough to stop. But, it's a rest of the lineup's got to just do a little bit. They don't have to also hit like 400 but in the playoffs. But, they just do a little bit, get on base or knocking a guy on third. And in a big situation, then, his team can go a long way.
Oh yeah, I'm not ruling out this team competing for a championship. You got a Tampa team. If you win the wild card game, you got a Tampa team that, in my opinion, is not built for postseason baseball. That team is not built for postseason baseball. They don't have a true number 1. They don't have a true great top bullpen in the game, but they don't have a true closer. So that team to me is not built for postseason baseball this year. Last year they were with their rotation and their closer, and they had Castillo as their closer. So last year they were built for it. I don't think this Tampa team, in my opinion, is built for postseason baseball. But looking at the Yankees, you look at this rotation, it's definitely pitched well. Garrett Cole did the job on Friday. Montgomery and Cortez were good. Unfortunately, Tyone got hurt last night. And then they got Kluber, who I'm a little concerned about. He's got to be better, but he pitches. He's the one guy I'm concerned about in that rotation. We'll see if what they're going to do, if they're going to add Herman or have Severino. I think they're going to keep Severino in the bullpen. We'll see what they do. We'll see who if Tyone can't go. I think they might have to have Kluber as that number 4 starter. I definitely keep Cortez and Montgomery in the rotation. Here's another comment from Hector. With the Yankees being inconsistent, are they hot right now just to cool off in the postseason? I think. Listen, Hector. I think this thing has a chance to last. And I think this team. I do like the White Sox and the Astros better than the Rays. But I think this team could go on a run with the way they're playing right now. The way the pitching is, and the bullpen's been a big thing. I think a lot of people haven't talked about the bullpen. That has really came together, especially during this winning streak. With Clay Holmes, I like him coming out of the pen. I like Chad Green coming out of the pen. They're hoping to get Loaizaga back, who's been really good this year. And Chapman has started to find his groove. I think, he struggled in June and July, but I feel like Boone, having confidence in him, keeping him in that closer role, I think he's found his groove. So, listen, in my opinion, I think this Yankee team can do it. I really think the way they're playing, they could do it. A lot of people are saying, they're going to lose the Rays in the first round. I don't believe that. I don't think the Rays are built for postseason baseball. I don't think it's a team built for the postseason. They don't have a good enough rotation, and they don't have a consistent closer. I think their lineup is the best I think it's ever been, the Rays lineup. But I just don't think they have a consistent closer or a good enough rotation. I wouldn't be surprised the Yankees knock them out this year.
I wouldn't either. I think it helps a little bit that they actually have some days off too, because I think what really
we might have lost Justin
in the series. So I think that hurt the Rays a year ago. But their lineup's good. I could see it, and even Michael King on the bullpen is coming off the IL. He can eat
really good last night. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because the thing is,
good eater there. Yeah.
Outside of Cole, you really can't trust anybody to go past 5 innings. So it's even Sevy, I like Sevy in the bullpen right now. If he can eat 2 to 3 innings for you a night in the playoffs, you're looking good because they're going to really have to rely on their bullpen because outside of Cole, you just don't know what you're going to get. I know Kluber historically has been great in the postseason, but, again, he's a different guy now. You'd hope you get some glimpses of it, but, hopefully he pitches better. I think tomorrow night he goes. So, yeah, I could see him. The lineups the Rays have is going to be tough. They've been able to kind of.
That's going to be the tough. That's going to be the question because if they're going to win that series, Garrett Cole's got to win the game he pitches, and most likely he won't pitch in probably until Game 3. So that's why if they do get in that 5-game series with the Rays, it could be very, very hard. It could be hard. They're going to have to hit. They're going to have to hit. If they don't hit, they have no chance against the Rays. But with this lineup and the Rays pitching, I'm confident that they will be able to hit. But yeah, you made a good point about the rotation. The funny thing is that kind of kept the Yankees afloat for most of the season. But now going to the postseason, because of the way the bullpen has been and the way Judge and Stanton have been, that's kind of turned into a little bit of a weakness. But I think this rotation is good enough to win a championship with. I think Montgomery and Cortez can eat innings for you. Garrett Cole's a true ace. So I think this rotation is good enough. I think this team right now is good enough is good enough right now to win it. I think Boone scares me a little bit, but I think the team's good enough to win it.
No, absolutely. I think they are. They are. I think the rotation can be stable enough that they could. The thing is, you hope the bats don't go silent in October, which has kind of been the Yankees' kind of issue at times. And outside of Cole, do you really, it's like the one guy you really feel confident that could kind of get you a big, 6-7 inning, shutdown. He was great Friday night, and that was a postseason game. He set the tone for that whole Red Sox series Friday night. The way I guess it helped the lineup to score 3 runs, but then he came out, got the shutdown inning, and really kind of silenced that whole place on Friday. So he was great. He'll have to be great again tonight against Barrios, another kind of playoff atmosphere type game up in Toronto. But yeah, this rotation, I think it's good enough. It scared me a bit, if the Rays kind of get hot with that lineup. But and again, if it's like, yeah, Cole's probably going to go game 3 in the wild card. So if they get in, they beat, they win whoever they beat in the wild card game. If they can at least steal 1 in Tampa Bay, 2, come home with Cole game 3, and you got to pretty feel good about Cole first game being the Bronx game 3, going up 2-1 with, the closeout game, hopefully, game 4 in the Bronx. You kind of feel good. So, I think if they could steal 1 down at Tampa Bay, you're feeling pretty good about yourself.
And yeah, and obviously we've been kind of getting ahead of ourselves talking about playing the Rays, but it's because we got to get into the playoffs first. But tonight, we got Garrett Cole on the mound against Toronto. If the Yankees win tonight, they're in the playoffs. There's no doubt. Yankees win tonight, they're in the playoffs. I mean, I don't know if they would guarantee they'd be hosting the wild card game, but they win tonight, they're definitely in the playoffs. And you got the perfect guy on the mound. It's all lining up perfectly. You got Garrett Cole on the mound. You got the right guy. The Yankees win tonight, they're in.
Yeah, absolutely. They should. You got to take 2 out of 3 from Toronto. Again, I see them at least getting a game or 2 against Tampa this upcoming weekend.
They're not going to lose all 3 games of the Rays when the Rays have nothing to play for.
No, I think the Rays are going to set up their pitching staff, but most of that lineup is still going to be in there just because it's not a 40-man roster anymore. So you're going to have a major league roster or lineup you're going to have to face. But Cole's the guy. Again, Cole has always seemed to love kind of the, late September, early, October when he pitches his best. I know Barrios has been better. I know it's going to be a tough matchup tonight against the Yankees, but they've had some success over the years against Barrios, so I feel confident he can get enough runs for Garrett Cole. It'd be nice to get another 2-3 runs and just for Garrett, because I know that's been one of the things run support has not been great for him. I guess for most of the guys it really hasn't, but you can get Cole in early lead too, because Toronto's bats seem like they've cooled off. That's kind of been the story. Like for weeks, it seems like the bats are great, and then other weeks for the Blue Jays, it just kind of seems they can't get anything going. So right now, it kind of seems they're in a cold stretch. So, which helps Cole as well.
Yeah, you look at the Blue Jays. Their upcoming games. Got 2 with the Yankees, then 3 with the Orioles. They're right now. They're out of the play. They're actually. They're behind the Mariners too, so they're a game behind the Red Sox and now a half game behind the Mariners. So the Blue Jays, they definitely got to win at least to be in the playoffs. They got to, I think, at least seeing who the Mariners and Red Sox, seeing their schedules, the Blue Jays got to win at least one of these 2 games against the Yankees.
Yeah, absolutely, they do. And I know they got Robbie Ray on the mound tomorrow night. So again, this Cy Young candidate right now, that's kind of the guy you want on the mound there in a huge game.
And that's one of the reasons why I don't want to face the Blue Jays in the wild card game, because I think there's a good chance Ray will pitch in that wild card game. And we'll obviously get to Sale, because if Sale has to pitch this weekend, he probably won't pitch in the wild card. He'll come out of the bullpen, but he might not start in the wild card game. But if say Ray, the Blue Jays somehow make the playoffs, Ray is definitely going to be on the mound against Sale in that wild card game.
Yeah, absolutely. I know Core said last night they don't have their rotation set for Saturday or Sunday. So I think it probably depends on what happens the next couple of nights there and what goes on with the Yankees. And I think it's going to determine that, because of all these been great against the Yankees besides Friday night. So yeah, I think, we may see Sale for the first time in 2 years, who usually does pitch well against the Yankees as well. So yeah, I think the Red Sox do get in. You're going to see Sale, but man, those bats last night were awful.
And we got to get to the Red Sox. And really, yeah, the bats. I think the biggest story is obviously the bullpen, but we'll get to the bats. And the bats. Look at, the last 4 games, Bogart, 3 hits last night. Bogart's 1 for 16, and JD 2 for 13 in their last 4 games. I mean, that's I think that's 3 for 29 from your 4 and your 5 hitter. That just can't happen. That can't happen. I mean, the Red Sox, the strength of their team all year was their offense, but that just can't happen. And they really haven't scored in the 3 games against the Yankees. They didn't score more than 3 runs, and they scored 2 runs last night against a terrible Orioles team. So their bats were awful last night. And then obviously this bullpen. They don't have anyone they can trust at the end of the game in the bullpen. They had two leads going to the 8th inning against the Yankees, and they couldn't hold them. This bullpen is a disaster right now for the Red Sox. I mean, the rotation's improved with Sale coming back, but Sale really has improved. He can go more than 6 innings. This bullpen has been an absolute disaster for the Red Sox.
Yeah, it has. And they're talking about the other day. There's no guarantee right now. Like even Matt Barnes didn't have a spot in this postseason roster. because he's and if you said that back in June, you'd be
crazy,
shocked because of the way he pitched. But Brazier may get that spot. I know Brazier hasn't been great, but like Barnes doesn't have any confidence right now. Ottavino, the Yankees got to him, and he's been, high leverage spots. He hasn't been great, and they're hoping Garrett Whitlock comes back this weekend, which again, that's going to be a huge help for him because he's been their best guy. But yeah, and Taylor been good most of the year, but he won the DL the other day, and he may be out probably till the postseason. So they get there. So yeah, like their bullpen right now, it's kind of shambles, and they really need Matt Barnes to kind of figure things out right now. It just doesn't seem like he has. And Garrett Richards been good mostly out of the bullpen, but he wasn't good the other day. So yeah, right now they don't have guys that they can turn to, and like in Sale, he pitched well and he gave up that home run. It was a change that sat there in the middle of the zone and kind of blew the whole thing up last night. So yeah, they don't really have much confidence right now in anybody that comes out of that bullpen. And, again, the way the bats are swinging right now, so after the Renfroe home run, they had one ball that was like a line drive. Everything else was a ground ball or a pop-up last night. So that was like the fourth inning on until J.D. Martinez the ninth inning had a line drive. That was it. So the bats, they just didn't really seem – I don't know if that was in the game plan to just swing early, but the way the lineup swinging the bat right now, because Bruce Zimmer isn't great in the rest of the old bullpen, if the lineup continues to struggle like this, they're in trouble.
Oh, huge trouble. But talking about the bullpen, this goes back to Chaim Bloom, and we said this for 2 months, not improving this bullpen. He did nothing at the trade deadline. He didn't improve the rotation, but luckily for him, Chris Sale came back. And Evaldi's had the year he's had. But the biggest issue with the Red Sox is the trade deadline. They didn't improve where they were weak, and the bullpen was kind of falling apart in July, and they didn't improve the bullpen, and that's the biggest reason they're in the position they're in right now. Chaim Bloom was content to keep this roster together, and they didn't improve this roster. Every other roster, you see all these teams that are in it have improved. You see the Yankees. They went out and got Anthony Rizzo to improve their offense. You look at the Blue Jays. They went out and got Jose Barrios to improve their rotation. You look at the Mariners. They went out and got Diego Castillo to improve their bullpen. The Red Sox did not improve their team where they needed to improve their team. And that's why, yes, they've had a surprising season. Not a lot of people expected them to be in this spot. But they were content to be in this spot. And I've said this over and over again, in a city like Boston, you cannot be content to be in the spot you're in. You got to compete for a championship. And Chaim Bloom did a very, very poor job of improving this team at the trade deadline. Yeah, because, Schwarber, again, like, there's no DH this weekend. He's been great. I think, from all like the traded guys, he's got like the highest OPS, when he joined the team, like 3 weeks after. But yeah, because Austin David hasn't been great. Hansel Reyes, I forgot, it did bring up when we were talking about bullpen. He's been better. I think he's gone like 9 or 10 straight appearances without giving up a earned run. He has in September. He's been pretty good, but that's been about it. But he did blow some games back in the month of August. A Twins game he blew. There was a couple other games he blew. He's kind of started to figure out the last few weeks. But yeah, they didn't do enough. Like Hansel Reyes, there's a reason why they didn't get much for him. I know the Twins are kind of rebuild, or I think they got the Twins, but he's still not great, and he's not a guy you really want to lean on. So yeah, like they, I know they were kind of in the running for Kimbrel, but again, I don't know what happened there if they didn't really go after him, but look, they didn't do enough. They didn't get like a high leverage guy, and Barnes has been struggling, and Ottavino lately, high leverage spots hasn't really came up, and Garrett Whitlock going the IL as well really hurt. So yeah, they didn't do enough, and again, it kind of we're surprising everybody. Yeah, it doesn't just surprising everybody does not excite the people in Boston. It's you got to take the next steps there. Yeah, he did not at the trade deadline. Not at all. So we got to serve to one of our commenters. One of our commenters wanted to give our thoughts on the Mariners. We'll both give our thoughts on the Mariners. And first, my thought on the Mariners is, and the big reason why they are where they are, Kyle Seager and Mitch Haniger have had career years, and they've needed to make this offense, capable and keep it in the middle of the pack in the league. And so this offense is in the middle of the pack because of that. I think Flexen is at a really, really good year as one of their starting pitchers. I think their pitching depth is their lineup and the depth of their lineup and their depth of their rotation are not great. But I think the biggest move was getting Castillo, finding a closer, and then getting Castillo to be the setup man, because that has been excellent. The team I wrote him off. I don't know if this guy was listening to me, 2 weeks ago. I wrote them off. I said if they lose to the Red Sox, their season's over 2 weeks ago. I was wrong there. They're right. They're in great position. They're only a half game behind the Red Sox for the second wild card right now. They've won 10 out of 12. They got such a favorable schedule. They got the A's at home, and they got 3 with the Angels at home. And let me tell you something. The way the Red Sox and the Blue Jays are playing, the way they're playing, I wouldn't be surprised if they're in the Bronx next Tuesday night.
No, I wouldn't either. They've won 11 trade against the A's too, so they've owned the A's, and yeah, they got one more with them tonight, and they've been good. And Logan Gilbert pitched better. I think he's going tonight, and he's been better. I know before he really couldn't locate. He's starting to kind of figure it out, but Haniger, Seager, and then like Ty France too. He's just under 300 with 18 home runs, 72 RBIs. He's been another nice addition. Then they got him from San Diego in the offseason or some point last year. So, yeah, I thought after, they traded away Graveman, it kind of, the players weren't happy with the way they kind of went about the trade.
Which I think even things out with them getting Castillo.
Yeah, I think it did. And it's still, because it sounded like Graveman wanted to sign an extension. I don't know why they didn't want to keep him.
Yeah, but the Mariners were, the Mariners are cheap and they're not going to give him an extension. You know that.
Yeah, I know, which is ridiculous. And they traded to Houston. It's like,
I know, trading to Houston was. Yeah. I know that made no sense, but at least the Rays bailed him out and traded Castillo to them.
Yeah. Which the Rays, I know he's up for arbitration, but man, I didn't get that one either. But yeah, Castillo's been good. It's really helped that back in the bullpen, but like that's been their strength too. Like their bullpen has been and. It's a bunch of guys too that are like no names.
Pretty much outside of the guy from the Rays, they're pretty much a bunch of no names.
Yeah, I'm like Sean Doolittle's a guy we know, but like he's old. He's up there. He's like 35. And then what's I can't remember what's his, is it Anthony Maris? And then there's one guy from the Mets DFA or Paul Sewall. Like the Mets DFA'd him, and he's 9-3. That on 2 ERA right now. Like yeah, they kind of found it, kind of just like the Rays do. Like they just founded guys.
Scott Service has got to be up for Manager of the Year. He's got to be up for Manager of the Year. He's done a great job with this team.
Oh yeah, he should win Manager of the Year. I know Corey's gonna be up there too with the surprise of the Red Sox, but I think Service should too. For this team to be where they are, is incredible. I think their win total was like the mid 70s. Like they kind of blew by that one. So. Yeah, it's been a surprise. I'd love to see the Mariners make the playoffs. It's been since 2001. It's crazy. It's been 20 years since they made it.
Absolutely. But we got to head to the National League. We'll quickly talk about the National League, and we'll talk about the National League East. And I think last night, I know it wasn't official. The Braves didn't officially win the NL East last night, but I felt like they won the NL East last night because they beat the Phillies, and they beat the Phillies' best pitcher. And the Braves going to the playoffs, they did lose Acuna, but again, they improved their team at the trade deadline. They went out and got, Jorge Soler. They went out and got Adam Duvall, which was a great pickup, and they went out and got, Eddie Rosario. They improved their team at the trade deadline, and that's the biggest reason why they're probably going to win the NL East for the 4th year in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. And at that time too, it was like, you really couldn't believe the Mets were, the Mets weren't doing much. DeGrom just got hurt, and it's like, the Mets have kind of been up and down all year, and they didn't really have. They didn't believe that the Mets were going to win it.
I mean, they didn't get Baez, but that's pretty much all they did.
That's about it, yeah. They needed pitch. I know they got Rich Hill, but like they needed more pitching than that. And I didn't think Baez was the guy. That they needed somebody else in that lineup. But the Braves the Braves didn't really, didn't believe the Mets were going to win this thing. They took advantage of it. Yeah, I think Adam Duvall's still leading the National League in RBIs right now. Or he's like second. Like Adam Duvall, he's not a guy you think of, and it's been great. And yeah, they knocked out their best pitcher, Wheeler last night. Now you got Max Fried, who's been really good on the mound tonight to really kind of, they're in a great spot right now. I don't see them giving this thing up 3.5 games right now.
NL West race. This is important. People don't realize how. Yes, both these teams are definitely in the playoffs. This is so important because the loser is going to have to play a team that's the hottest. They're going to have to play the hottest team in baseball. The Cardinals have won 17 in a row. The team that doesn't win this division. Giants lead by 2 games, and I don't see the Giants giving this up. I know they got the Padres to close out, but I think the Padres have mailed it in. I think they sweep the Diamondbacks, and the Dodgers. I think it comes right down to the end because I think these teams don't lose this week because both teams are too good. I mean, Gabe Kapler obviously has done a great job with the Giants, but both these teams are too good. The Dodgers got they got the Padres. I think they win all those games, and they got the Brewers pretty much playing for nothing. They know they're going to probably play the Braves in the first round. So I think the Dodgers. I think it's close to the end, but I can't see the Giants the way they played this year giving it up. I got the Giants winning the NL West.
Yeah, I'm with you. They're up 2 games right now. I see the Giants being able to close things out. They're, I think, 15-2 against the Diamondbacks. They have 2 more with them, and the Padres who you have they pretty much just have quit. And the Dodgers have Scherzer tonight on the mound. He's 10-0 in the Dodgers uniform, so I don't see them losing the Padres tonight. I don't see the Giants losing at all until they clinch that actual National League West scenario. Because that Cardinals team, they're really starting to remind me of that Indians team back 2017 where they won 22 straight in September. They weren't, nobody thought they were going to make the playoffs. They won 22 straight, and they ran the table and got to Game 7 against the Cubs. So,
you mean
I would not want to
2006? You mean the 2016?
Oh yeah, 16. Yeah, my bad. 2016 team. I could see the Cardinals going on a run. They're playing some good baseball. Yeah, you don't want to face them in a wild card game. That's another discussion for another day. They need to, because it's not fair that Dodgers and the Giants may have to play each other.
It should be the Braves. It should be the Braves playing that wild card game against the Cardinals, not the Dodgers or Giants. But again, as you said, it's a discussion for another day.
Yeah.
But we got to move on to some college football. It's a huge week in college football. We got to move on to that. But before we talk about college football, we got a couple promos from Clovercrest Media.
The college football season is coming back, and we got you covered on every game. We're breaking it down on each snap all season long. Catch us every week starting on August 4th. Joe Aguirre, Sean Scanlon, Jace Garcia, and yours truly, Obi Muniz, giving you the highlights, predictions, and current rankings. Visit our website at hhwshow.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's all 4 downs, part of the CMG Sports Podcast Network.
Huge week of college football, and why wait until Saturday? It all starts on Friday night, and we got a big Big Ten matchup, 2 undefeated teams in College Park as Iowa faces Maryland. And I think this is going to be a really close competitive game. You got Kirk Ferentz in Iowa, you got Tua's brother in Maryland. This is a close competitive game, but at the end of the day, I'm going to go with the better coach team. I got Iowa beating Maryland and staying undefeated. But Justin, can Tua's brother play well enough to pull the upset?
Yeah, Toledo's going to be a tough one. Iowa's got a great defense right now. Again, their offense is their problem. Now, this game, because they really haven't faced much Maryland the first few weeks of the year, this game kind of reminds me of last year, their second to last game when they went to Indiana, and he threw 3 picks. They only managed 11 points. He really struggled. I think it's going to kind of be the same thing as that. I think he may play a little bit better, but I have Iowa win this game 17-13. I think Iowa gets a couple of interceptions. I think they get some early, some points in the the defense. Iowa defense capitalizes off of Iowa's offense. Kind of can do enough off of some turnovers in this game to win, but they survived against Colorado State, which is not a very good team. So it's a little bit of worry, but I think Iowa finds a way to win.
Got BYU facing Utah State on Friday night. I think BYU wins this game and wins it by a couple scores.
I have BYU up or winning this one 34-20. Jared Hall, the BYU quarterback's been battling a rib injury. Baylor Romney came in last week and had a heck of a game, threw for over 300 yards. Not a scrambler, more of a big pocket passer, but had a very nice connection with his brother Gunnar Rodney, who had 5 catches, 119 yards, a touchdown. Blake Anderson's doing a nice job so far at Utah State. He brought in a big help. Logan Bonner from Arkansas State came with him. And their leading tackler and the best player in defense, Justin Rice, both Arkansas State transfers. Utah State could put up some points. It's a high-octane offense. They really showed, though, in Boise last week, even though it was a 9 o'clock kickoff. But I think BYU does enough to win the old wagon wheel on Friday night.
Huge. Oh, here we go. Here we go with Big J with Jace. First 5 road games for BYU this season. They are fake. Only got big wins because they were at home. We'll see. Yeah, and they don't have Zach Wilson anymore. But I think BYU. I mean, they did go out there. They beat Utah. Who else they beat? They beat Utah.
Maybe Arizona State.
So they beat 2 Pac-12 teams. They're not fake. Jace, come on now. They beat 3.
They should be They should win the Pac-12 South.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, come on now, Jace. They're not fake. Just because you're a Utah fan, you don't need to be bitter about BYU. Come on now. But we got to get to an SEC matchup, big SEC matchup as Arkansas. Could you remember the last time they've been undefeated? Undefeated Arkansas, number 8, faces undefeated Georgia. But I do feel like this Georgia defense is going to be too much for KJ Jefferson, and I feel like that Georgia's going to win this game by 3 scores. But Justin, can KJ Jefferson somehow lead a humongous upset in this game?
It's going to be very difficult. This Georgia defense is insane. I have Georgia win this thing 24-10. He's banged up. I think he's going to go, but he's a bit banged up right now. And a couple guys on the offensive line for the Razorbacks are banged up, and we've seen what that Georgia defensive line is. The job Sam Pittman has done is unbelievable. This team wasn't competitive for 2 years in the SEC, and what he's been able to do so quickly is astonishing. And I didn't think it was going to be higher at first, but I've been dead wrong about that. And Georgia's defense so far, they've given up 1 defensive touchdown. They forced 9 turnovers. Again, I don't see how anybody's going to really score against this team. I think they'll give Alabama fits if they eventually play in the SEC championship game. I have Georgia win this game 24-10. They're still banged up. Georgia, I think they're going to get Darnell Washington back, who played at tight end spot pretty well last year. But again, they're still got some weapons, missing right now.
We got a Big Ten matchup with Michigan heading to Camp Randall to face Wisconsin. And I'm sorry, I think Michigan is not good. He's not a good quarterback. Threw 4 interceptions last week, two at the end of the game. I think Graham Mertz is not a good quarterback. I think Michigan contains Wisconsin's run game. And I got Michigan winning close and pulling the upset.
I have Michigan too. Again, the only problem is Wisconsin's only allowing 1 yard per 1 yard per carry. Michigan cannot throw the football. But again, I don't trust any of these 2 teams. But
the thing is Graham Mertz will probably give them. He'll probably throw 2 pick sixes.
And that's why I'm picking Michigan. But Wisconsin the last few years have dominated Michigan up front. I think they could do that. But Wisconsin, Graham Mertz, his reads are not very good. It's just too many costly mistakes. Wisconsin quarterbacks are really good game managers. They don't turn the ball over. They can make the plays when they have to. They'll make the big throw kind of on third down. They'll do enough. But Graham Mertz, again, it hasn't worked. But Wisconsin too, they don't have that dynamic running back either. That they don't have the Monty Ball, they don't have the Jonathan Taylor, they don't have that back that they usually do. And their offensive line, I think right now is a work in progress. I'll take Caden McNair, I guess, a little bit more right now than Graham Mertz, but It does worry me. I think turnovers are going to be a huge part of this game, and I think Mertz makes a couple more than McNair.
And when Wisconsin's offensive line is not good, they're in trouble. That's the signal. They're in trouble. Moving on to a big game in South Bend as number 7 Cincinnati faces number 9 Notre Dame. And I'm going to go with the team with the better quarterback. I'm going with an upset here. I think Notre Dame has, they were impressive last week beating Wisconsin. I get it, but that score didn't indicate how that game went. I'm going to go upset. I'm going to go with the upset here. I'm going to go with Cincinnati. You've been on Cincinnati for 2 years. I think they get another big win. They beat Indiana. I think they get another huge win and beat Notre Dame. And Desmond Ridder gets a huge win. And I think, after this win, you may have to give Cincinnati some college football playoff consideration if they end up running the table and going undefeated.
Yeah, absolutely. Because especially with everything else right now in college football, because you're going to have to fill. I think Alabama and Georgia are 2 locks right now. And those other 2 spots, I don't know where you're going to get them from. So, I think Cincinnati, and I get Cincinnati going on the road. I'm very worried, but I think they're coming off a bye. They haven't played well. But the thing was, they were down double digit to Indiana. Most time, and I know Indiana's not as good as they were last year. But what team goes on the road, kind of comes back from 10-point deficit like that? Great teams don't do that. Great teams usually lose by about 20 points. So I think I give some credit there. I know like the kick return was a huge part of that. Notre Dame's defensive coordinator, Marcus Freeman, was the coordinator last year at Cincinnati. So he's kind of, he knows Ritter, but Ritter's been very good under pressure. He's been the top quarterback according to Pro Football Focus under pressure this year. I think he does enough. And it's a tough kind of another week for Notre Dame, a physical team you played last week in Wisconsin. Another physical team you're playing this week in Cincinnati. Cincinnati has 5 or 6 guys that could play at the NFL level. So I'm going to take the Bearcats. And Notre Dame too. They've already allowed 20 sacks so far. I think Cincinnati could get some pressure on Jack Cohn right now, and I think they go on the road to get the win.
We got a big SEC matchup, and don't forget, Lane Kiffin and Matt Corral gave probably Alabama's defense their toughest game last year. I think Ole Miss is going to cover the spread. I think this is going to be a really, really close competitive game, and it's going to come down to the end. But I got Alabama staying undefeated, winning by a touchdown. But Justin, can Lane Kiffin come in there and beat and pull this upset?
I think they got a really good shot. Now, I would pick Ole Miss to lose in Oxford in 2 if they didn't get scared by Florida, because I think that Florida scare, I think Laban really laid into his team last week because they were running it up on Southern Miss. They were throwing the ball up by 50 with 2 minutes left. So Saban really wanted to put it on last week. So, look, this Ole Miss offense, they put up 48 last year. They couldn't stop them. And Ole Miss defense is better. It's not the Lance Sharks defense that, we saw 6-7 years ago, but it's better. And, under DJ Jerkin in year 2, he brought in Chance Campbell, who's been their best defensive player. He was at Maryland when DJ Durkin was there. I don't see them being able to do enough. I think Bama wins the game 41-37, but Ole Miss the most explosive offense so far in college football. Matt Corral right now, I think, is the best quarterback right now in college football.
And we got a commenter, James Lill. He says, "Hey guys, can you help me on my Week 5 picks?" Absolutely, we can help you with your Week 5 picks. Definitely, message me, Justin D'Onofrio, and Justin D'Onofrio or me on Facebook. We're on Facebook, Sports Talk with R&J. We're on Twitter, so DM us, send us a message on Facebook. Do anything you can. Absolutely, we absolutely want to help you with your Week 5 picks. We'd be really helpful too. So send us a message on Facebook, give us a DM on Twitter. You just type in Sports Talk with R&J. It's right there. So definitely, I definitely want to help. Definitely would love to help you with your Week 5 picks. We definitely want to cater to our audience. Yes. Absolutely. So we'll go to a Pac-12 matchup in Palo Alto as Oregon faces Stanford, and I think Oregon wins this game with Verdell and Anthony with Verdell, and I think Thibodeau has a big game. I think Oregon wins this game, and I think they win it by 2 scores. I think they're clearly the better team. I think they beat Stanford by 2 scores.
I think Oregon wins this game. I have them win this one 34-24. Oregon's a little banged up right now in their front 7. So I think Tanner McKee could put up some yardage and be able to get some points. But Stanford's run defense right now, they're giving up over 5 yards a carry. I think Verdell, Travis Dye. I think that I think the Ducks do enough in this game and running the football. Anthony Brown's been a really nice addition. He fits Joe Moorhead's offense very nicely. So,
and is this going to be Thibodeau's first game back, or was he back last week?
Yeah, no, he did not play last week. I believe, he should go to this week. So, it'll be his first game back. So, if he could play, because they're really banged up, especially at linebacker right now, it'd be a huge help for the Ducks on a Saturday afternoon.
We got a Big 12 matchup in Manhattan as the Sooners face the Kansas State Wildcats, and Kansas State lost last week, but I just feel like this game's going to be close because Oklahoma's been so unimpressive this year. Spencer Rattler's been unimpressive. I think this is a close game. I know Oklahoma wins, but this is going to be a close game. And the question is, Justin, what is wrong with Spencer Rattler and this Oklahoma team this year?
Well, OU's not explosive right now, and I think part of it too. I know we talked a little bit about it last week, but the more and more I think about it too is I think the NIL stuff had the NIL stuff has a piece to do with it too, because now it's, you're kind of signing an agent, because they always say too, the toughest thing kind of learning the pro game is how to become a pro, and you're kind of a pro at the college level, and it's kind of about me. I kind of need to get, my name and, my money, my name, image, and likeness out there, and you come back on the field and it's like, okay, now I have to be the team guy again. So I think, part of it's been that. He just hasn't improved at all. He's just making the same mistakes that he did since he was a freshman. But this Oklahoma team, it really reminds me of that 2014 Florida State team. You know, Jameis Winston underperformed most of that year. And Florida State won half their games by one score and then got absolutely blitzed in the college football playoff by Oregon. So this Oklahoma team's really giving me that kind of sense of they're going to have to pull out a lot of close games. But Rattler just hasn't really improved. And, again, I just, I don't, and I know the wide receiver core is pretty young too, but they have pieces. So, and Kennedy Brooks, for some reason, I know he was out, he opted out last year, but like he hasn't really even gotten going in the running game. So, this Oklahoma offense, right? And think about this too. Where would this Oklahoma team be right now if it wasn't for this defense? And who'd be saying that 3 or 4 years ago? That
I know,
crazy
to think that right now. Crazy.
Yeah, but in the game, I have Chris Keelman, he's 2-0 against Lincoln Riley. It's been his kryptonite. You got Red River rivalry next week for Oklahoma. I'm gonna say Oklahoma pulls this thing out 24-20, but Will Howard, he's not a great thrower, but you saw when Garrett Greene came in last week for West Virginia late in that game, that read option kind of was good against, West Virginia's success against the option against Oklahoma. He's good at that. So I think, he's going to be able to put up some yards, but I just don't think they have enough offense in this game. But it wouldn't shock me if they lose this game. And Rattler, too. I don't know if you heard, too, the student section was chanting Caleb Williams last week. So
wow.
He's feeling the heat right now.
And before we get to the next game, we'll get to some comments. Jay said, don't forget Kansas State has won the last 2 meetings. And I'm not going to forget the game when they beat the last year they beat them at Norman. I'm never going to forget the game when they beat them with Kyler Murray. No, it wasn't Kyler Murray. That was 2 years ago when they beat him. I'm not. Oh, that was Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts here when they beat him 2 years ago. I'll never forget that one. So it's the last 2 meetings. Kansas State has won over Oklahoma, and we'll just get quickly. I'll throw out some spreads. We got UCLA, Arizona State. I think you take the points. I think you take UCLA even minus 3. I think you take UCLA in that one. And Pittsburgh, Georgia Tech, same thing. I think you take Pittsburgh minus 3. Justin, what do you think about those 2 games that James put out for us?
UCLA right now, I take UCLA with the points. I think they're pretty similar teams, I think, in every aspect. But I like UCLA right now going on the road. I think the winner is going to win the Pac-12 South right there. And the other one was Pittsburgh. I'd probably go with Georgia Tech. I like what I've seen. Pittsburgh's defense, Pat Narduzzi's teams are not bad. The defense isn't great. They can't run the ball, and Georgia Tech can't really stop the run. They can't stop the run, but they're very good in the secondary, Georgia Tech. So I think they do enough. I know Georgia Tech's coming off a big win at North Carolina. They played Clemson tough. I like what Jeff Collins is doing. I think Georgia Tech could pull it off and get the win at home.
All righty, so we got another comment from James, but we're going to get to this. We're going to talk about this game. We got Baylor, 2 undefeated teams in the in the Big 12s. We got Baylor facing Oklahoma State, and I got Oklahoma State winning this game. And yes, James, to answer your question, I think they cover the spread in this game. I got Oklahoma State beating Baylor by a touchdown. Justin, I'm going to ask you the question. James James gave us. You think Oklahoma State can win and cover in this game?
Yes, I think they will. Oklahoma State really dominated that game against Kansas State last week. They outgained them by about 200 yards, and Baylor was outgained by Iowa State by 200 yards. I think Oklahoma State's a better team. Gary Boheman has played really well. He's been a very good game manager, done what he's had to do in this game or, in the games. But this is a tough one. Oklahoma State at home at night, it's always a tough one to win, to go out there and win it. I think Oklahoma State, does win. I have Oklahoma State win this game 30-21. I think Spencer Sanders, he take care of the football. I think they do well, and they win this game.
We got an SEC matchup. We got Florida heading to Lexington to face Kentucky, and I think this is going to be Kentucky's reality check. I feel like Emory Jones is going to have a big game. I think Will Levis is going to have a tough day against this Florida defense. I got Florida winning this by 3 or 4 scores. But Justin, can Levis somehow, the Connecticut guy, keep the Wildcats undefeated?
It's going to be tough. I have Kentucky going down this one, 31-24. I think they score some points in this game, but Kentucky's got 9 turnovers, the most in the country right now. Will Levis, he's been inaccurate at times, especially his deep ball passes. That week 1 game against Monroe is horrible, but they were saying their offense looked great, but they really struggled with Chattanooga. Florida's only forced 3 turnovers so far. Florida's won 16 straight games here, but yeah, Emory Jones right now. You grew up.
Jace, nice. For the record, I grew up sacking Will Levis.
Yeah,
because you played for you. I think you played for. I don't know. You can correct me. I think you played for Clinton or Morgan, or I think you might have played for. I don't know what high school Jace. It might have been Morgan or Clinton, right? And Xavier, he might have. Oh, or maybe he Morgan. But I don't know if Jace played him. I don't know if he played him in high school, but yeah, he played at Xavier. I don't know where Levis grew up though, because Xavier's a private school, but. We played youth. So he grew up sacking Will Levis. Wow, that's crazy right there.
Yeah, nice. That's a cool thing, sacking a Division I quarterback. But I think Will Levis may get hit a couple times this game. I think Emory Jones is really playing well right now. Dane Mullen's great with quarterbacks, and I see Florida winning 17 straight games here in Lexington.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think so. I think it'll be an easy win for Florida. But we got an ACC matchup and a team that's not played well, Clemson. They're 2-2, but they are still a big favorite against BC, who's undefeated. And I think that continues this week. I think BC's not had a hard schedule. I think Clemson bounces back and wins this game by 2 scores. But here's the big thing: I'm not going to ask if BC can stay undefeated, but can they cover the spread?
I think I think they will. Again, I just don't. That's all Clemson offensive line. It's just not very good. Will Shipley is out. Their top running back. They already lost Lynn J. Nixon, who's their backup running back. He transferred out. DJ Ulungile, again, he's completing like 56% of his passes. They're last in the ACC in total offense, or last in the yards per play. Again, they're just horrible. And then on the defensive end now, Tyler Davis and Brian Breesy are both out. Those are 2 of the best defensive tackles in the country. And BC can run the football. And their offensive line is a veteran line. I know BC's on the defense side, BC's line's not great, but the way Clemson's offensive line is, I don't think it really matters right now. I can't see Clemson going 0-2 in the ACC. I can't see it. So I have Clemson winning 23-20. But Clemson needed 24 unanswered points last year. The beat Boston College now. Phil Jakovic, they're BC starting quarterbacks out right now. I think Clemson finds a way to win this game, but I'm not very confident right now. They're horrible. Their offense is horrible, and that was another one that's very stubborn about things, and they gotta figure some things out right now.
Absolutely. I mean, their national championship hopes are over, but the only way they salvage it is to win the ACC again and develop DJ for next year. Develop him for next year. So that's all they really have left to do now that they have 2 losses. But we'll wrap up talking about Auburn heading to Death Valley to face LSU. And for me, Bo Nix on the road. Enough said. LSU wins close. Justin, can Bo Nix finally win a big road game?
No, I have LSU 31-23, and he may not even play. Or he's going to play. He may not start in this game. TJ Finley came off the bench. Went down a 98-yard drive. They won a spectacular on a 4th and 9 somehow. Finley got it, and then they had a pick six. They gave up 224 yards, I believe, on the ground at Georgia State. And Auburn already fired the wide receivers coach after 4 games. It's the same old Auburn. I don't care who you put as the head coach. It's the same old team. LSU can't run the ball, though. Max Johnson, is all 6 of his starts, has thrown for at least 3 touchdowns. Keyshawn Bowdit, I think, is going to have a huge day. He's already got 24 catches a year, over 300 yards, and tied in the country right now with 8 touchdowns. And, I don't trust Auburn at all right now. I don't really trust LSU either, but I think LSU at home at Death Valley, I'll take them Saturday night in Death Valley. I'll take the Tigers.
And Jay said it would be a revenge game for Finley.
Yes, it will. He was their 3rd string after preseason practice. He was the guy who came into LSU compared to Marcus Russell. He's 6'6", 250. He's highly touted it, but he played well against South Carolina. The rest of wasn't great after that. So I think you got to start him for the drama. He played well. He gave that team a sense of kind of life last week. So I'm going to take Auburn, and I see James's comment just now about Rice and Southern Miss. I don't really have a good feel in that game. I kind of watched a little bit of both teams. They're not very good, both of them. I'd stay away personally, but if you have to pick it, I'd probably go Rice, but I'm not very confident though.
Yeah, we'll see what happens between those two teams. But that's going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with R&J. For Jace Garcia, our producer, who did a great job. For Justin D'Onofrio, I'm Steve Risser. We'll be back next week talking about the baseball postseason, Week 5 of the NFL season, and Week 6 of the college football season. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Meat, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.